The year is 2013, and during a feedback session, my thesis advisor told me this one thing. You write such fun, distinct characters who seem like they're standing in a dark room, referencing the fact that I frequently forgot or straight up refused to write descriptive scenes. I thought I got around it by doing an epistolary novel for my senior thesis. Fortunately, I was told that that's not how that works, and just because it's in a letter doesn't mean that nobody's describing anything. And then simultaneously, I was listening to this TV writing podcast called the Nerdish Writers Panel that was all about TV writing, and I thought, oh, I can just do that. You don't have to write scene descriptions in script writing because that's somebody else's job. I can just do character and dialogue. Sign me up. So I did sign up. I got my MFA in writing and producing for television after getting my BA in creative writing and spent the next 10 years pretty much solely focused on screenwriting and filmmaking. But here's the funny thing. I made my way back to prose, as you've probably picked up over the course of this YouTube channel and of course our Substack blog. If you haven't subscribed, you should do that. There's some really great stuff over there. And when I came back to prose, I discovered that what I used to take for granted as a thing that I just wasn't good at, writing descriptions, was no longer strictly true. It's definitely still not my favorite part of the process. I'm always going to be a character and dialogue person, but I learned some really essential things from the process of filmmaking that have made prose writing a lot more intuitive. So today I'm going to give you a very specific example of how filmmaking made me a better writer. Essentially, the art of production design. So if you're not familiar with this term, production design is the part of filmmaking that is concerned with the sets and the way that spaces are set up and look. Working with production designers has made me a better descriptive prose writer. So I'm going to walk you through why that is. We're going to use the example of my very first film project, Brains, which is a post-apocalyptic comedy narrative vlog web series that my director once described as a woman who thinks she's in a rom-com who is actually in a horror movie.
Here's the thing. I have needs. Sex needs.
So because Brains was a narrative vlog, otherwise known as the epistolary form of the film world, and as a result, a lot of the filming was taking place in the character's dorm room. Alison is our main character, played by me. The dorm room needed to not just be visually interesting, but also be a part of the story because we were spending so much time there, it would be a waste not to do that. So the production designer for this project was a woman named Paige Schumacher. She was one of my classmates in my MFA program and is a genius, and also did all of our zombie makeup for the first season. And so for the $14 stipend that we had available in collaboration with me as the screenwriter of the project, this is what we came up with for Alison's dorm room. So the first thing you'll probably notice is that all of the posters are pretty basic, but also they're all kind of torn up. Now this was something that Paige brought to the process very early on, which was she reasoned, it's the apocalypse. Just because things aren't actively super dangerous anymore at the time that you're setting this doesn't mean that there isn't going to be wear and tear. Nobody's printing posters anymore, right? They got what they got. So all of Alison's posters, for the most part, were kind of worse for wear because Paige reasoned, and I absolutely agreed, that Alison was going around looting her classmates' dorm rooms after they either died or left campus to, go try to survive elsewhere. And these posters told that story. You'll also notice that there is a big emphasis on anatomical models and brains and skeletons and things like that because Alison is a neuropsychology major, a brains. Specifically, I want to call attention to the corrected phrenology poster. Now, if you don't know, phrenology is a eugenicist pseudoscience, but it is a very popular icon in posters. We liked it because it was a big poster of the brain, but it's pseudoscience. These are not the actual portions of the brain. So what Paige ended up doing was going through using an actual brain diagram and then correcting the phrenology poster as Alison. It's my favorite thing of all time. It's such my favorite thing that it's literally behind me in my current office more than a decade after we shot this series. As the series progresses, there is a number of wardrobe items from previous episodes that are sort of strewn about the background because when we first started setting up the scenery, Paige was like, do you think Alison is messy or neat? And I was like, she's definitely messy. This girl is messy in all of the ways that you could call somebody messy. So why am I explaining to you the production design choices of a web series I made a decade ago? Well, are you starting to at least see how a room is not just a room? Before filmmaking, if I got an editing note that was like, we're in her dorm room, what does it look like? I would be like, I don't know, did you go to college? You've been in a dorm room. It's a dorm room. There's a bed there. There's also probably a desk. Like, what do you want from me? Well, what they want from me is the thing that I just went through, right? It's not just where is the bed in the room, which may or may not be relevant, but more so, what does this space tell us about the person who lives in it? What does it tell us about them performatively? What does it tell us about them literally? What little trinkets tell the story of who this person is and their point of view? In fact, descriptions aren't boring, irrelevant nonsense. They are character, or at least that's how I have chosen to interpret this lesson. And it has certainly helped me get to a place where describing things is exciting again, even if you're not describing a location that one of your main characters lives in, so like a coffee shop or their workplace or something like that. There are still opportunities to showcase character, both in, who are the people who run this place, who have decorated this place, what do they care about, what is their sort of vibe, but also who is the character whose point of view is describing the scene to us, and what does what they focus on tell us about them. Alison Sumner is a very single-minded, impulsive person. So when she walks into a space, what she is noticing and what things like matter to her in terms of how she would explain it to somebody else is going to be very different from perhaps how I, Brie Castellini, would move in through a space, or other characters in that book. So all of these opportunities that I previously wrote off as like, I don't know, just use your imagination, are actually rife with character and storytelling opportunities that deepen our understanding of the themes of the piece, the tone of the piece, and the people who live and work in these spaces. So now when I get to a new place in a book, I ask myself, how would I dress this set? If I had $15 in a dream, what are the things that I would focus on? As a fun exercise, I want you to look around your own space and really think about what it says about you or the person who decorated the space. I'm also going to take you on a quick tour of my office, and then in the comments, I would really love for you guys to tell me something about myself. If I were a character, and this is the room that the author described, what would the different elements mean to you? What would they tell us about the character, and how can we use them as jumping off points for characterization, for story, for tension? If you're someone who struggles with making scene descriptions matter, make them matter. You set this scene in this space for a reason, so what is the space adding to that interaction? And what might we learn from it that we don't have to be beat over the head with in terms of dialogue and exposition, simply through describing what's on the walls, describing what trinkets are lined up on which kinds of shelves. So remember, spaces aren't just static things. They have a history, they have a perspective, they have a personality, and they are deeply rooted in the people who built them. As ever, there is an article version of this video in the description down below, and if you want more great advice like this, definitely make sure you're a subscriber to our Substack and to this channel, whether you're watching this on Substack or YouTube or whatever new platform emerges that we feel like we need to be on to compete in this marketplace of ideas that is the internet. But until next time, thanks so much for going down this memory lane with me. I love Brains. It's very much a 2015 show made by grad students, and it is also one of my favorite things in the world. Thank you, Brains. Thank you, Zombies. Thank you, Paige Schumacher, for being a more visually articulate person than me, and I'll see you all soon.